Welcome to this free immigration help channel. So I'm making this video because I got a lot of comments on my video that I've done for regarding the I-94, specifically how to obtain those records. Now I noticed from the comments that a lot of you guys are having problems finding those records, and from my personal experience I know that a lot of times those records are lost. So in this video I wanted to make an updated video, up to date, because it's been a while since I made that old video on how to acquire those I-94 records, but also add the important part that if you cannot find them, what should you do, what form to file for a replacement I-94 card, because there's a form that you can file, and it's located on this website here that you have in front of you, that I have in front of me, USCIS.gov, official website for US Citizenship and Immigration Services. So let me show you the form first, and then we will go into the actual I-94 records and we will talk about that. Okay, so let's go to the forms. It's very straightforward. You go to the forms in the menu right here. You can see it here, forms, and then we're gonna click on all forms. The form that you're looking for is called I-102. So we're gonna scroll down past the G. I-102, there it is. Application for replacement initial non-immigrant arrival departure document, which is I-94. So we're gonna click on that and we're gonna leave this window open right here. But before we get into the details of actually filing for the lost I-94, I'm going to show you an updated way, which I think shouldn't have changed, but just in case it did, here's the updated way of acquiring your I-94. And the website that we're going to use for those purposes, it can be found here on this page in where to file. If you click this drop down, you will see form I-94 page, which is the CBP's website. We're going to open it in a new tab, and here we go. This is the US Customs and Border Protection official website, and here you can find actually some information on the form itself, but we're gonna go to this website here, i94.cbp.dhs.gov. we're gonna open that in a new tab, and this will open a page looking like this. And I'm gonna post all these links. Don't worry if you think you're gonna get confused. Don't worry about these links. I'm gonna post all of them in the video description below, so you can just open it and click and it will be there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about acquiring your record first. Suppose it's not lost, because now everything is issued electronically. Before, and I mean I'm talking years, it was just literally a white small piece of paper that was attached into your passport, which made it very simple, because you open up and you see that extra little piece of paper that shouldn't belong in your passport, but it's there, so you know exactly what it is. And right there on that little piece of paper, it said the date that you can stay until in the United States. You get it right in the airport, so you can't really confuse it. As long as you're careful with your passport, you can't lose it. So I think that was better, but I don't know. I don't know. But today they actually issue you the electronic version. So a lot of people, I get questions, they're like, hey, where do I find my I-94 record? Unfortunately, it's all electronic, and in order to pull it up, this is the website that you're going to use. Okay, so here we go. This is it. You have a few options here. You can apply for a new I-94. That's only if you're traveling by land. So that might not be applicable to you. We're going to leave it alone. Already visiting and need proof of visitor status. Now that's most likely what we're gonna use. Get most recent I-94. And also what you can do on this website, which is I think pretty cool, is you can pull up the history of your arrivals and departures for the past 10 years, which is great, because most of the times if you are starting some kind of immigration process, probably I would say 95% of the times in the application, whatever it is you're applying for, it will ask you every time you entered the United States, every time you left the United States, and it can be a little bit tricky sometimes to remember that stuff. So this right here can definitely help. Okay, so I'll show you how to go through both of these. We're not gonna do this, or we're not gonna look at this, just these two. And then I'll talk about the problems that are associated with it, and then we'll talk about how to solve those problems. So, how do you get the most recent I-94? The most recent. You entered into the United States, and you cannot find your record of your entry. You don't know how long you can stay here, you forgot, whatever, or you just need an I-94 because you're starting some kind of immigration case. This is it. This is what you're going to use. So we're going to click on that, and it will give you terms of service that you agree to everything, all of this, that you're not engaging on anything unauthorized, anything, some kind of, you're not doing it on behalf of somebody else or something like this that they don't know. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So that will open up the page where you'll have to enter some details. Very straightforward, very simple, nothing crazy. You enter this information and your most recent I-94 results come up. Very easy. First name, last name, and looks like we have some pre-filled fake names here for the information. We're gonna do John Doe though. John Doe, just for whatever reason. Obviously your birthday, document number, country of citizenship. You're clicking next. And actually, let's put some information there, just to see what is gonna come out. You'll probably say not found, but we'll see. Whatever. Just a bunch of fake numbers, and then the country is going to be Algeria. John Doe from Algeria. Next. Okay. So this is the problem that most of the times comes up. Most of the times, from my comments, people who are trying to do it, obviously, if you're commenting, then you have some kind of issue. This is what they get. And they get it not because they enter random information like I did. They get it because they entered their own actual information, but they still get it. Why? Okay, unfortunately, most of the times, when you're entering through the airport, imagine you're going through the port of entry, there are a bunch of people, the customs border officer is entering all of this information right there on the spot, on the fly. Mistakes happen. If there is one mistake, not John, but John, no record will be found. If there is a document number, instead of like this, maybe with a space, it's not gonna come up. Little tiniest mistake in any of these things, and then again, document number. What kind of document? Is it a passport number? Is it a travel passport number? Is it a visa number? Try them all, but if you get no record, then you probably not, unfortunately, not gonna make this work. So it's not gonna come up. So that can be a little bit of inconvenience. Okay, now I'm gonna show you the other one, and then we'll talk about the problems. Because here with the travel history, it's exactly the same story, exactly the same thing you're entering, and a lot of times people are getting the same exact result, no record found. Why? Again, unfortunately, because mistakes happen, and they happen quite often. Okay, so if you cannot find that information, what do? You have a few options. First of all, you can contact the Customs Border Protection. You can find their number here. I'll put the information. This gives you the form to submit it, but I'll post a link in the description below for that information. It's a little bit of a difficult route because you have to go through all of these operators, and most of the times they can't answer really the questions over the phone, unfortunately. Another thing that you can do is you can go to the nearest Customs Border Protection office and request a new I-94 there. But with all of that, there are some forms that are associated that you will still need to fill out. What kind of forms? Okay, now we're talking about the solution. You have a problem, you cannot pull up your record. Let's talk about the solution. Now we're going back to this page right here. The page for I-102, application for replacement, initial non-immigrant arrival departure document. So I'm going to show you how to do this form and where to file, and filing fee right here is $445, so it's not cheap, unfortunately, but this is what works. Okay, so if you cannot pull up your record and you really do need it, this is what works. So let's open up the form. I'm gonna post all the links in the description below, but the form is pretty straightforward. It's only like really 5 pages, barely, let's not even count this because it's just a signature page. So really 4 pages form. This is just the supplemental stuff. So we're gonna go through this one by one, but when you're doing it on your own, I highly recommend opening up the instructions PDF and actually reading through the instructions. Here they are. That's the application for replacement initial non-immigrant arrival departure document instructions on how to fill out I-102. Obviously, I'm not gonna go through all of this, not to waste your time, but I recommend it open just in case if you have any of the questions throughout filling out the application. Each item here, for example, you see item 14, right? Let's see. What's 14? Let's see what's number 14. I'll just want to give you an example so you know how useful this form can be, how useful the instructions specifically can be. Let's see, where's item 14? Class of admission at last entry into the United States. Class of admission of last entry into the United States. 14, there we go. Class of admission at last entry into the United States. For example, you're like, what is it? What does it mean? Okay, there you go. Item 14, provide the class of admission at your last entry into the United States. Well, that wasn't really helpful, to be honest, but you get the point. At least you can find some sort of explanation. But let's go back to the form and I'll explain everything in detail. Okay, so we're starting with the form I-102. Unfortunately, there is no online way to file this form, unfortunately, yet. I hope it's going to come up soon, but not at the moment, so you'll have to actually fill out the page, the paper version. You can do it on the computer, like myself right now. You can definitely do that on a computer. Some of the fields, like these, for example, that are white, you can't fill them out on the computer. Just the gray ones you can fill, right? So, Doe, John. So that means that once you're done filling it out as much as you can on the computer, you can print it out. Well, not can print it out. You have to print it out because you have to actually physically sign it. But also then you can fill it out the rest of the stuff. Now, whenever it comes to the paper forms, paper application forms, make sure that you don't leave any blank spaces. Very, very important. I've seen plenty of applications come back to the applicant because there was a blank space. Not really a huge deal because it's really just USCIS tells you, hey, we see a lot of blank spaces in your application. Please put not applicable or none into these blank spaces and then send it back. Not a big deal. You just put the not applicable and you send it back and then it's accepted. But keep in mind, obviously you're wasting some time because you send the application, they review it, they're like, oh no, blank spaces, they send it back, 5 days, 4 days there, 4 days, 5 days back. You fix everything, you send it them 4 or 5 days, then until they review it. I don't know, probably you're gonna waste like months and a half for no reason. So don't do that, don't leave blank spaces. Okay, so alien registration number. If you have applied already for some kind of case, if you have an immigration case open, most likely you're gonna have that. Starts with an A. All right, so it's gonna be on your it's gonna be on your green card. It's gonna be on your employment authorization document. It's gonna be on your receipts, some of the receipts. So make sure you put this in. Now, if you created a USCIS online account, you might have an account number. Not all the time. Sometimes I've seen people create an online account and they get the email with their account number. Sometimes they never find out the account number. If you don't have it, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Just put none if you don't have one. It's really not a big deal. Middle name, not applicable. We don't have a middle name for John Doe. But if you do, obviously, you put it in there. Other names used, if any. If not, not applicable. Not applicable. Not applicable. All right? You don't want to fill them with... You don't want to leave them blank because somebody can fill them somewhere along the way. I don't know, for whatever, no reason, some kind of scam. I don't know. But USCIS does not like the blank spaces. Just get that. As long as you don't leave the blank spaces, you're fine. Mailing address, obviously street, city, whatever state. Physical address, if just put the same one if it's the same. If not, then put your physical address. Other information, your date of birth, your country of birth, your country of citizenship. Now, information about you still, U.S. Social Security number. If you have it, you put it. If you don't have it, none. Entry information. Now, that's going to be kind of hard to do because you don't have your entry information because you lost I-94, because if you didn't lose it, you would need this form and pay for $145, but you do have to do it, so just do your best. Last entry into the United States, if you remember, put it. If you don't remember, that's fine. Place of last entry into the United States, city and state. Class of admission. So class of admission would be how you entered the United States. For example, if you came on B1, B2 visa, your class of admission, you can put B1, B2. That completely works fine. Or you can also say visitor for pleasure, or visitor for business, or you can do student if you're a student, or you can do F1, right? As long as it gives some kind of understanding to the person who's reviewing, the immigration officer who's reviewing this application, they will understand. So that's pretty straightforward. How you entered, the type of port of entry, was it land, was it airport, was it seaport? Most likely airport, so select that. Current non-immigration status. If it changed, you put the new one. If it didn't change, then you're still gonna be B1, B2. Our John Doe is B1, B2 because he's an example. Date status expires. Now, if you don't remember that, you don't remember that. That's fine. If you remember that, then you enter it. Form I-94. I'm laughing because we're filling this form out because we don't have Form I-94. Because if we did and we knew the number, we wouldn't need to fill it out. So it's kind of silly, but whatever. If you remember it, you enter it. If you don't remember that, don't worry about it. Passport number, that's your passport number. Travel document number, if any. If not, then just put not applicable. Country of issuance of the passport. Expiration, so all your passport information. Provide your name exactly as it appears on Form I-94. Okay, this is going to be a little problematic because, again, you don't know how your name was entered on I-94. That's why you cannot pull it up. I mean, you can pull it up for a reason, right? Because there was some kind of mistake there, most likely. So just put your name exactly as it should show up. So sure, it's going to be Doe, John, and no middle name. Not applicable. I don't put none in the middle name just in case, because you never know. Maybe there's a middle name none somewhere out there. Okay, so I put not applicable. Moving on, a reason for application. Now this is going to be pretty important, and you have to select obviously the right reason. Now there are a few options. I'm going to read all of them so you know. Select the box that best describes your reason for requesting an initial or replacement document. Okay. First one is, I am applying to replace my lost or stolen Form I-94, which is most likely going to be the case. Most likely. So most likely that we're going to select this for the purpose of this video, but I'm going to read the rest. I'm applying to replace my lost or stolen Form I-95. Okay, that's a little bit of a different form. Not very popular. The I-94WE is not very, so we're not going to talk about it in this video. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that, but we're going to leave it for now. I'm applying to replace my Form I-94 or Form I-94 because it was mutilated. I have attached my original Form I-94. Okay, you don't have that, so it's not the case. I'm applying to replace my Form I-95 because it was mutilated. I was not issued a Form I-94 when I was admitted by the CBP at the airport, whether at land border airport. This can be the case too. Maybe you're not, because a lot of people, you know, if you're getting an electronic one, well, I didn't really get anything on hand, did I? So I was issued Form I-94 by USAS with an error or incorrect information, which can be applicable too, but you really don't know which one is the case. But here you can provide an explanation of the error or incorrect information entered on I-94. If you are selecting this, then you make sure you say here in this, you see this blank field a little bit. Make sure that you put, I'm going to this website to enter, I'm entering my correct information and it's not coming up, so it must be incorrect. You can explain it like that. Or, I was not issued Form I-94 when I entered as a non-immigrant member of the military. That's specifically for the military. Okay, moving on. Processing information. Are you filing this application with any other petition or application? Yes, no. Select that. If you are with some kind of form, then you can put here. For example, you're doing the I don't know, I-130 form number. Just put I-130. You can't put it here with the computer because it's white, it's not gray. So moving on. Processing information. Are you now in removal proceedings? Now removal proceedings is basically the deportation proceedings. When you have overstayed, when something is happened, your case was denied, yet now you're in removal proceedings. Basically there is an order to deport you or remove you from the country. So yes or no. Provide the detailed information regarding the proceedings if you are in the proceedings. Then that's it, really. You're done with the form. So like I said, it's very, very simple, it's very basic. You're filling out your applicant statement that it's really you. I can read English, and if I cannot read English, I have the interpreter, and then if there's interpreter signs it. If no interpreter, then applicant, you sign it, obviously, both with the interpreter if there is one. There's preparer, there's interpreter, pretty much the same thing. The difference is interpreter actually helps you understand the form, while the preparer is literally just filling it out for you. You understand everything yourself, they're just helping you prepare it. Very straightforward. So, and then the additional information. If there's anything else that you need to add, for example, on page, let's say you want to add additional information here on this page right here. So let's, in this field right here, as you can see, let's say you want to add some more information. You have not enough field, so it's going to be page 2 out of 6, part 2, and this is where you're going to enter. So it's going to be page 2, part number, and the item number, and then you enter additional whatever stuff. So once you're done with that, you print it out, you fill it out, you sign it, everything's done. Now, where do you file this form? Okay, this is the last thing that I'm going to talk about in this video. Like I said, filing fee is $445. It's going to be a money order, personal check, or a cashier's check. Okay, so you're going to be filing it, the check, with your application. So where do you file it? Okay, in order to file the address, it's going to be here underneath where to file on this page, on page I-102, and direct filing addresses. So we're going to go here. We're going to open up direct filing addresses, and as you can see, it gives you quite a few options. So if you are filing form I-102 with another form, all right, with another form, you file it to the same location where you're filing that form. So that form, whatever other form you have, if you have it, is going to be above 102. 102 just goes as a supplemental. All right, so you don't have to worry about filing 102 somewhere separately. If you were issued an electronic form I-94 by U.S. Customs Border Protection, this is where we go. This is what we were doing all this time. But in our case, well, in example, in your case, it didn't work, so it's lost. So that's why we're doing this. You're filing your Form 102 because you're military. If you're military, member of NATO or Partnership for Peace, you have a separate whatever you're filing in Virginia. It's not the case for us. So here are some locations. Should be filed based on where you're located. So if you are in these states, this is where you're gonna file. If you are in these states, is it the same? No, it's different states. Alaska, Alabama, Arkansas, Alaska, Arizona. If you're in these states, that's where you file. So I'm in Florida. Here's Florida. So this is either this one or this one. I'm going to file two. Now, what's the difference between the two addresses? Well, this address is if you're sending your application with USPS. This address right here is if you're sending your application with FedEx, UPS, and DHL. I personally send all the applications with USPS. Never send anything with FedEx, UPS, or DHL. I don't have anything against them, but in my experience, it was always to the PO box with the USPS. So hopefully this video was useful, and hopefully you're able, if you're not able to obtain your records through electronically through the website, you will be able to obtain an actual I-94 card for yourself filing this form here. Unfortunately, it is pretty expensive. Honestly, I feel like this could have been free because, well, if it would have been your fault, if you lost it, then okay, maybe. But most of the times it's issued electronically, and most of the times the electronic version does not come up because they made the mistake. So most of the times people file this form because immigration or customs border whatever made a mistake in the airport. So it's not really fair to charge them the fee to obtain that, but that's how it is, unfortunately, with with these forms, with these applications. So you have to keep that in mind. So let me know in the comments below, guys, if this was helpful. If you have any questions, if you have any requests for any more instructional videos like this, I would be happy to help. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.